something I don't think I've ever seen before. Mostly Meta, but also to a lesser extent Netflix. And that is a company grows its revenue 23% while having reduced costs of 7%, resulting in an increase in earnings of 170%. That's Meta. I've just never seen that before. What are your thoughts on Meta and Netflix's earnings? And have you ever seen performance like that?
It reminds me of somebody who's 400 pounds, in weight and goes out and eats 3,000 calories and still loses weight because they were eating 7,000 calories before. These companies had built up a huge amount of fat in the last decade. They had a lot of slack. I mean, I remember walking around Google's campus and wondering, what do all these people do? Because they seem to be out there sitting on benches. And when you're doing really well and the market's rewarding you for basically doing nothing, you can keep these people around. So what you're seeing in these companies, and this is something I mentioned towards the middle of last year when I talked about why these big tech companies were likely to see higher profits even in the face of inflation, is they can cut 20% of the workforce and not even notice the effect on their revenues because these people, I won't say they're doing nothing, but what they're doing is very difficult to trace through to the bottom line. So I think eventually the fat will run out and then you'll have to do real cost cutting, which is always painful because there are trade-offs. But for the moment, they're getting to have their cake and eat it too, cut their costs and show higher revenues. And the market's judging them accordingly.